You've been putting in the work. You're showing up for your rides. You're setting goals. You're practicing regularly. But if you're still not seeing the breakthroughs that you expect, I want you to pause and ask yourself, what's really holding me back? It's easy to blame external factors, the weather, your horse, your schedule, but I'm going to tell you something that might sting a little bit. The real sabotage is happening in your mind. I've seen this time and time again with riders who are stuck. They think that they're doing everything right, but their mindset is the very thing that's stopping them from leveling up. For today's podcast, I have looked back through my client files to get some big picture takeaways for you guys. And here are 5 ways you're mentally sabotaging your progress with your horse.
Welcome to the Resilient Reiner, the premier podcast focused on mental performance for equestrians and improved horse show performance. Whether you're a rookie reiner or a seasoned competitor, this show is for riders who want to take their skills to the next level and achieve their full potential in the show ring. I'm Nicole Burnett, and I'm a master mindset coach who's obsessed with helping you achieve all those horse dreams you always thought were impossible. Join me each week to develop a show-ready mindset and gain the competitive edge you need to compete with confidence.
Welcome back, friends. It's your host, Nicole Burnett. I am so tickled to be here with you today. You know I love hanging out with you on the podcast. It is my favorite way to connect with you. Thank you for being here. And if you love this podcast, please do me a favor and just scroll down, leave a 5-star review on iTunes, on Spotify, and with a sentence or two about something that you've learned from this podcast. It really helps the podcast, and I really appreciate it. All right. Oh, and the other thing, of course, I'm so excited for coming up is we have the Mental Rehearsal for Riders Masterclass. And when you are listening to this podcast, know that you too can be a part of this because I'm going to keep the replay available so that people, no matter when you're listening, you can come, you can benefit from this training. But of course, if you are listening to this podcast now, you should come and join me live because live is so fun. All right. So we are going to do the Mental Rehearsal for Riders Masterclass. And I'm so excited because as a mental coach for riders, I do get a lot of questions and a lot of doubts about, okay, what is mental rehearsal? What is visualization? How do I do it? I don't know if I can really do it because I'm not very imaginative or I'm not very visual. I don't know if that really applies to horse riders. And honestly, maybe I should do a whole podcast on all of that stuff. And I'm so excited to get into all of that because we're all able to do mental rehearsal, okay? And this is going to help you to master your innate ability to mentally rehearse your best rides into reality. I'm going to guide you step by step through my proven technique for mastering focus, confidence, and performance in the saddle every single time. All right. This is a proven process that delivers results so that earning that belt buckle or nailing that run can feel like deja vu and not just some far off dream. Okay. This is the mental rehearsal experience that will do that. You're going to get a step-by-step breakdown of my updated fail-proof mental rehearsal process for riders. You're going to get real-world examples from myself and my clients of how do you use it in the arena and beyond. Doesn't matter if you're preparing for your reining pattern, nailing effortless lead changes, fearlessly leaning into more speed, no matter what you're doing with that speed, cows, barrels, reining, conquering show day jitters, or building your confidence back after an accident. This process applies to any challenge that you're facing as a writer. It is so powerful. All right. And you're going to get a visualization to help you lock in your smoothest, what a natural rider, best rides yet, making it feel effortless and automatic when you swing into the saddle. Imagine how good it will feel to shave off hours of practice and still see improvement each time you ride. I know that you are so in because you are going to get all the nitty gritty, okay? This is where we are going to take the time to get into what is it, why does it work, and how do you do it, all right? All those questions that I know that you have, you're going to get all the answers here, all the how-to so that you can take this process and apply it over and over again at home, all right? This is one of my most valuable processes for delivering real life results in the saddle. And so with all the questions I get and knowing how powerful it is, I wanted to take it by itself so that I can teach it and get it out to you so that it can have the most impact for you, for your horse. And I'm just so excited, and you're going to get, it's such a steal for everything that you're going to get inside of this training. I can't wait for you to be there and do it, okay? So if you're tired of feeling anxious before competition, if you're tired of getting stuck in a rut, feeling like your progress is hamstrung by not being able to ride or show as much as you'd like, this is what you need to bridge that gap. It's going to take you from anxious to awesome with ease. And I'm just so excited. So if you're ready to visualize your way to victory, you need to join us. And you can get the link in the show notes. Also, easy to remember, NicoleBurnettCoaching.com/mental rehearsal masterclass. Again, NicoleBurnettCoaching.com/mental rehearsal masterclass. Okay, so today's podcast is really fun because I was thinking about what can I share and what can I share? And I always have a million and one ideas because I'm always riding and working with people, and so there's stuff coming up. And I thought, you know what I see is I see people unintentionally sabotaging themselves, right? They're working so hard, they're riding, they're taking lessons, and then there's these sneaky little sabotages that they don't even realize that they're doing. And when we work together, I see these things over and over again, right? I see these hidden saboteurs in their riding and these self-sabotage. And so I thought, oh, I see these over and over working with my clients. I'm going to share these on the podcast so that you guys can see, look for these in your riding, and then you can stop them. All right. So here are 5 ways that you're mentally sabotaging your progress with your horse. Okay. Number 1, self-doubt. Oh, and this can be subtle. You might not even realize that it's there. There's a little voice that whispers, "You're not ready for this. You're not as good as the other riders. Maybe you should wait and enter the next show." Self-doubt causes hesitation. It makes you second guess yourself mid-pattern. And that's where mistakes creep in. I have one client who's been riding for years, but every time she was approaching a competition, she'd freeze up. It wasn't her ability that was lacking. It was her belief in herself. through mental rehearsal and targeted mindset coaching, we worked together and she finally broke through the wall of doubt. In her next show, after that, she rode with a confidence that she had never felt before. And the result was a personal best score and just a grin that said it all. All right. And I love getting pictures from you. Like, it doesn't matter if it's from a show, or I had a client send me a picture of her on her horse in a field just a couple days ago. And she says, look, I just had this confidence and I never would have done this before. And when I see you guys smiling and enjoying your time with your horses, oh, that's why I do this. Okay. So the first way you're mentally sabotaging your progress is self-doubt. The second way is perfectionism. So I get it. Oh, I get it. You want to get it right. But here's the deal. And trust me, I know what I'm talking about as a recovering perfectionist. Deep breath. Striving for perfection slows your progress. This took me a long time to really hear and believe, but it's so true. Striving for perfection is slowing your progress. Think of it this way. It's like you're trying to climb up a mountain. I live in the mountains, so this really works for me. But if you live in the flat, imagine you have to walk to town. But just here, I'm in the mountains. It's like you're trying to climb the mountain carrying a backpack of rocks. Yeah, you might still make the climb with your backpack of rocks, but it is so much slower and so much more painful than it needs to be. Every time that you zero in on what went wrong instead of what went right, you reinforce that belief that you're falling short. So, no more perfectionism. Perfectionism is not a badge of honor. It is the anchor holding you down. One of my clients was constantly chasing a flawless performance. But what did that mean? That meant for her that every ride became a session of self-criticism. She literally couldn't see the 90% that she was nailing because she was obsessed with the 10% that wasn't perfect. Once we shifted her mindset to celebrate progress over perfection, everything changed. She began to enjoy her rides again, and funnily enough, those imperfections she stressed over started fading. All right, the third way, the third sneaky saboteur, negative self-talk. Have you ever caught yourself saying something like, I always mess up at this part, or I just can't get it? It might sound innocuous, but that's not just a random thought. It's a mental habit, and it's sabotaging you because your brain believes whatever you feed it, whether it's true or not. For instance, another writer I worked with was stuck in a loop of saying, oh, I'll never get this lead change right. Guess what? She didn't for months. After we worked together on rewiring her self-talk, she replaced that with, I'm mastering my lead changes. Within a few weeks, she started hitting those changes consistently. Your words shape your reality, whether you realize it or not. And that's why it is so beneficial to work with a coach, to work with someone. Honestly, even just listening to how I do so much when I'm listening to my clients talk and I listen to the words that they're saying and the thought patterns that they're expressing and just say, hey, do you realize what you're actually doing here? All right. And it's such a big deal. That's also exactly the kind of transformation we focus on inside of Resilient Rainer Academy. So if you find yourself stuck in that same pattern, if you're caught in negative self-talk, overlooking your own progress, or just believing that becoming a great writer is for other people, then Resilient Rainer Academy is the place for you. So come join us and we'll work together to shift your mindset so you can start seeing real results in the saddle. Okay. Number 4. So just to remind you, so we're 5 ways I see clients sabotaging their writing: self-doubt, perfectionism, negative self-talk, and number 4, comparison. Ding, ding, ding. For number 4, it's true comparison is the thief of joy, and it will also sabotage your progress. This one is also a sneaky one because you might be scrolling through social media. We live in the age of social media. I know you get on there sometimes, and maybe you don't. Maybe you're like, oh, that's for them youngsters, but you're going to be at the show. Or maybe you're like me pre-business where I really was like, I'm not doing social media. And then I started my business and now I do social media. All right. You're scrolling through social media or you're at the show and you're looking around the warm-up pen and suddenly everybody else, they seem more talented. They seem more confident, more successful, obviously better than you. Their horses are better. But here's the truth. Comparison will kill your confidence every time. You are on your own journey. But when you focus on somebody else's, you lose sight of your own progress. One client spent more time comparing herself to the other riders in the barn than focusing on her own growth. It made her feel like she was always behind, even when she wasn't. We worked on shifting her focus inward, tracking her progress against herself week by week instead of constantly looking outward. And guess what? Her writing improved because she stopped trying to measure up to anybody but herself. And the 5th one, fear of failure. Whew! I know this one well because it shows up in so many ways. You don't push for the next level because you're afraid you'll fall short. You keep playing it safe, staying in your comfort zone and never risking the failure that might just lead to your biggest breakthrough. For example, I used to be terrified of making a mistake in the show pen. Did I mention I'm a recovering perfectionist? Yes, I did. So this fear kept me from giving 100%, and it showed. Once I tackled this fear of failure head on with visualization, mental rehearsal, and releasing limiting beliefs surrounding that, I learned to embrace the possibility of failure as part of the learning process and not something fatal and world-ending. I learned to stop playing it safe, and while I didn't and don't win every time, I rode better than ever, and I started to win a lot more than before. So, what do you do about it? These 5 sneaky ways that you're sabotaging your efforts: self-doubt, perfectionism, negative self-talk, comparison, fear of failure. First step is awareness. If you're not aware that these behaviors are a problem, if you're not aware that you're doing it, it's not gonna go anywhere. So the step 1 is awareness. Recognize these sneaky little saboteurs for what they are. They are mental roadblocks that are not real. Let me say it again for those in the back. They aren't reality. They're just thoughts. They're wild little toddler thoughts running feral and unchecked, whispering lies and running the show. But guess what? You are in control, and you have the power to change the narrative. You don't have to keep thinking the same limiting thoughts over and over again. You don't have to keep making the same mistakes. If you're feeling stuck or like you're capable of so much more, but you just can't get past what's holding you back, then it's time to take control of your mindset and your mental game. This is where mental rehearsal comes in. This is one of my absolute favorite tools. Visualization is your secret weapon for breaking through the barriers in your mind. When you can see success in your mind, you begin to create it in your reality. It's not woo-woo, it's proven. It's how top athletes in the world break through, and it's how you are going to break through too. And this is why I'm inviting you to my mental rehearsal for writers masterclass, because I know how powerful this is. In this class, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to harness the power of visualization to ride with the kind of flow that makes everything feel effortless, and to make the kind of massive progress that leaves others asking what your secret is. Of course, you can keep grinding away, hoping things will change, or you can get intentional and take control of your mental game and start creating the breakthroughs you've been waiting for. If this feels like the next step you've been looking for, I'd love to have you join me. So come join us in the Mental Rehearsal for Writers Masterclass so that you can ride with the confidence and focus you've always wanted. Because remember, you are closer to success than you think. All it takes is getting out of your own way. So I'll see you in the masterclass, cowboy. It's time to go ride my horse. Thanks for being here.